Here, participatory polls to be held after necessary reforms. Professor Yunus. Dhaka, August 25, 2024, BSS. Chief Advisor Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus today said a free, fair and participatory election will be held in the country after necessary reforms to administration, judiciary, the election commission, EC, electoral system and law order sector. A free, fair and participatory election will be held after necessary reforms to administration, judiciary, the election commission, electoral system, law order sector, and free flow of information to give the student people a successful culmination, he said while addressing the nation at 7:30 p.m. BTV World and BTV Chattogram Center broadcasted his address. Professor Yunus said the main aim of the election is to introduce an accountable political system against corruption, looting and mass killing. Local government institutions, he said, must be strengthened and decentralization of power should be ensured to consolidate democracy. Claiming that the government has taken a strong stance against corruption, the chief advisor said all the advisors to the interim government will disclose their wealth statements within the quickest possible time. Professor Yunus said submitting wealth statements will be made mandatory for all government officials at phases. To take steps against corruption at the state level, an ordinance will be proclaimed to appoint an ombudsman in line with the Article 77 of the Constitution. Professor Yunus said different countries and the United Nations have already extended their full support for the present interim government. We will maintain friendly relations with all countries. Mutual trust, beliefs, and cooperation will be the base of our foreign policy. We are respectful to all international laws, including human rights law. We have taken steps to become signatory to the International Convention on Enforced Disappearances, he said. About reforms to different sectors, the chief advisor said health sector is one of the most corrupt sectors in Bangladesh and necessary reform will be brought to this sector to ensure enough health care for the country's people. The chief advisor said all involved in the health sector to be made accountable while initiatives will be taken to modernize hospitals and presence of doctors and experts will be ensured at the hospitals. May I vote serve Bangladesh in its democratic transition process. I vote একটি স্পর্শেই একটি ভোট সমগ্র জাতির জন্য একটি চূড়ান্ত নির্বাচনী সমাধান। আই ভোটের নকশা ও প্রস্তুতকরণ দুটোই হয়েছে সর্বসাধারণ ভোটারদের জন্য, যেন সবাই একটি স্পর্শে একটি ভোট দিতে পারেন। আই ভোট instant registration of voters, instant creation of executive positions, instant nomination of candidates, instant vote event management, instant result of the vote event. Remember to comment, share and subscribe if you like. Continue please. The 2006 Nobel laureate said the present generation dreamed of sustainable and environment-friendly development. There is no alternative to bringing carbon emission to zero level to address climate change impacts and ensure a healthy world for the future generation. Our government will provide maximum importance to protection of environment and climate. Young generation will be involved in this program, he said. About national solidarity, the chief advisor said the interim government believes in national unity aimed at bringing reforms. It will be ensured through political unity that women, children, disabled and religious minorities and indigenous people all are the citizens of the country and entitled to get equal protection as per the law. He said initiatives will be taken to ensure the rights to all, while a special assistant with the status of an advisor will be appointed to develop national solidarity. Professor Yunus said the government has activated all programs to minimize sufferings of the flood-hit people. Meanwhile, he said advisors have visited different flood-affected areas and a control room was set up at his office. Initiatives are being taken to minimize flood consequences and find ways to control floods in the future, he added. The chief advisor said he directed the armed forces, police, and other law enforcement agencies to identify their members who are directly involved in killing, disappearances, and physical and mental tortures and bring to them to justice, mentioning that he has directed to the authorities concerned to prepare a list of the victims of killing and disappearances. He said, I have no word to express my sympathy to their families. We will continue our efforts to bring peace in their lives. Professor Yunus mentioned that he directed the armed forces, police, and other law enforcers to take all possible measures to regain people's confidence. A committee, he said, has already been formed to prepare a white paper on corruption, money laundering, anti-people agreements, and looting in the name of taking protests that took place in the last 15 years. The chief advisor said he held meetings with envoys and representatives of donor agencies, calling upon them to provide all-out support to rebuild the country after the student people revolution. He asked all the Bangladeshi expatriates to send money to the country using official channels. Nothing that Noting that an initiative will be taken soon so that overseas overseas workers can go and return home with honor and dignity. Please, I vote should be given an opportunity to serve Bangladesh in its democratic transition process. I vote একটি স্পর্শেই একটি ভোট সমগ্র জাতির জন্য একটি চূড়ান্ত নির্বাচনী সমাধান। আই ভোটের নকশা ও প্রস্তুতকরণ দুটোই হয়েছে সর্বসাধারণ ভোটারদের জন্য যেন সবাই একটি স্পর্শেই একটি ভোট দিতে পারেন। I vote, instant registration of voters, instant creation of executive positions, instant nomination of candidates, instant vote event management, instant result of the vote event. Professor Yunus said the interim government had to deal with an unstable law and order situation just after assuming office. With people's support and cooperation, all patriotic law enforcement agencies joined the work, he said. A huge number of officers and employees became victims of discrimination as the fascist government made massive partition in administration, he added. We have already started taking measures of correction, but time is needed to expedite the administration as well as to take appropriate decisions through adopting a specific method for this region. I am requesting all to keep patience, he said. The chief advisor said one of our targets is to bring back people's confidence in institutions at every sector in the administration. The government, he said, has taken initiative to ensure good governance in the banking sector, which was turned into a place of looting and corruption. Skilled manpower is being recruited in this sector, he said, adding the government has activated the initiative to create congenial atmosphere for trade and commerce, establish discipline in banking sector and bring the inflation and price of essential commodities under control to ease the people's lifestyle. Professor Yunus said bank commissions will be formed for making long-term reform in banking sector. A framework will be formulated for overall situation and reformation of the financial sector and it will be disclosed before the people soon, he said. Steps will be taken soon for removing indiscipline from share market, transport and other sectors where indiscipline exists. He said, the chief advisor said works have begun to free the judiciary from corruption and party influence. Initiatives have been taken to ensure freedom and accountability of judiciary through a specific process, he said, adding justice will be ensured in all wrongdoings of the fascist government, including heinous crimes like extrajudicial killing, enforced disappearance, killing, abduction, and Ainagor, and all those who are involved with these offences will be brought to book. He said all false cases will be withdrawn after making list and trial will be ensued in corruption and laundering of wealth. The chief advisor said police commission will be formed to create a pro-people party influence-free and accountable structure in view of law and order. Necessary reforms will be made under the leadership of the Commission after getting the United Nations investigation report and exchanging views with all responsible agencies and the people, he said. He said free flow of information and freedom of mass media will be ensured. We are placed bound to ensure the people's right to information. Existing legal and other barriers to flow of information will be removed. Repression sections of those acts which hinder freedom of expression will be amended. He said adding process has already been started after identifying such acts. We have already lifted the unwritten ban on foreign journalists on coming to the country. Concerned officers have been given directives to issue visas to foreign journalists quickly. We hope media workers will carry on neutral journalism in the changed situation, he said. Professor Yunus said the previous government established massive disorder in the field of education. We will take initiative for complete reformation of this disorder. It is one of our priorities, he said. He said after assuming office, the interim government has resumed all educational institutions within quickest possible time. Our pledge is to ensure creative, safe and intimidation-free atmosphere for these students. At the same time, works for making the curriculum time benefiting will be begun soon, he said. Professor Yunus said our Professor Yunus said our duty is to bring all the people under a family ties. There will be differences in families. There will be disagreement. But we are brothers, sisters, and fathers, mothers. We are not enemies of each other. None will be considered as enemy due to his opinion. None will be judged as enemy due to his religion. None will be treated as enemy for his gender. We all are equal. None is above and under anyone. We want to establish the idea in every sphere of the national life, he said. Seeking cooperation of all in a special matter, he said. Rallies are being held daily at Secretariat, surrounding of his office and different parts of the city since he had taken the charge. Many sorrows and pains of yours have been stockpiling for the last 16 years. We realize that all the doors of removing the pains will be closed if you don't allow us to work, he said. Professor Yunus said, we request you to allow us to work. Give us your expectations in written. We are not the opposite party of you. We must do whatever we can in accordance with the law. But don't put any hindrance to do our works by seizing us in these important days. Make everyone realize in unison that they don't prevent us from doing important tasks to attract us to their allegations. All are wanted to know one thing, that is when our government will say goodbye. You will give the answer when you will say goodbye to us. None of us to rule the country, he said, the chief advisor. May I repeat? All are wanted to know one thing, that is when our government will say goodbye. You will give the answer when you will say goodbye to us. None of us to rule the country, said the chief advisor. Thanks for this diplomatic sentence. He said, we get joy in our own professions. We have taken the charge in response to the call of the students in critical time of the country. We will perform our duties with full strength. We, the advisors, being inspired to accomplish the duty, have been working as a team, he added. When the election will be held is completely a political decision, not our decision. The countrymen have to decide when they will relieve us from the church, he said. We are coming at the call of the students and they are our primary recruitment authority. The countrymen have supported the appointment of us. We will constantly make our strides to realize all regarding the matter, as the question will not rise. When we will go? We will go whenever they want. We will reform the election as part of the reform. We will make the commission prepared to hold an ideal election anytime, he said. Professor Yunus said, we have started the process reform in various aspects. We requested the country to initiate a discussion that works at least we will do and what works to be done before leaving. We can get a road map through the discussion, but the final decision is the political decision. The political decision will come from the political discussion. We do not proceed the discussions with firmness with the donor governments and international economic organizations without getting the roadmap. We give the guarantee that we will not raise any question to extend the tenure on behalf of us, he said. We, each member of the advisor council, will give our best to overcome the crisis in the critical juncture of the country. We want to ensure all that we will leave no stone unturned to go for building new Bangladesh, which we have got through bloodsheds of the student people due to our disagreement, said Professor Yunus. We will be loser as a nation if we lose the chance. We promised to the martyrs, injured people and living student people, we will no way to lose the achievement. We have taken a pledge to make our country a respected one on the global stage, he said. May I request you, the people of Bangladesh, the chief advisor and all advisors of this interim government to take I vote to solve the electoral problem of this nation in the transition to democracy. I vote is designed to solve. I vote features for the last time. I vote একটি স্পর্শী একটি ভোট সমগ্র জাতির জন্য একটি চূড়ান্ত নির্বাচনী সমাধান। আই ভোটের নকশা ও প্রস্তুতকরণ দুটোই হয়েছে সর্বসাধারণ ভোটারদের জন্য, যেন সবাই একটি স্পর্শী একটি ভোট দিতে পারেন। আই ভোট instant registration of voters, instant creation of executive positions, instant nomination of candidates, instant vote event management, instant result of the vote event. This is the voice over text of this news published in the Bangladesh Sangbad Sanstha on August 25 and even updated on August 26, 2024. Thank you for watching. Comment, share and subscribe if you like.